Hello out there. Can you hear us? Yeah?
Can we hear them?
In? Yeah. Amazing. Yes, give it up for these ladies, everybody. All right, we have a lot to get into today as we really dive into what multifaceted fandom looks like. And Colleen, I want to start with you.
Okay.
Yes, you're up.
I'm
of
up.
course, social media plays a huge role
Yes.
in multifaceted fandom. So I want to know how the fan experience has evolved on Snapchat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, if you think about the fan experience over time, right? It started out with watching the game. That's what you were there to do. That's what all the coverage was. That's where everything happened. You saw the same thing as everyone else. Start of the game, through the game, whatever happened in the game, end of the game, and then there was the news.
Yep.
And now, and even with Snap, originally, we were running content that was basically recaps and, excerpts. Now what we've got is this element where there is a full surround on what that coverage is like. It's from the point of view of the athlete. It's from the point of view of the fan. It's what's happening before the game, after the game, outside of the game. And I think what's really important about that is that athletes are under constant pressure to perform. And so when you put them in an environment where, like, all of a sudden what they're doing just in the normal course of getting ready to do their stuff, that is fascinating to people. And it's easy for them because it's part of the process of who we are and who they are. And I think that this idea that that is the mix, what drives someone, what gets them somewhere, how they perform when they're there, how they feel after, that's what people want to know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Speaking of athlete, we have one of the world's best up here, the one and only Chloe Kim. So Chloe, from both an athlete perspective and a personal perspective, how has your relationship with fans and social media evolved over the years?
Hi, everyone. First of all, hello. I will say it definitely has evolved. It's a great way to put it. Definitely was a love-hate relationship at first because I grew up, very humble beginnings, didn't really think that I would be anyone or anything or not somebody that anyone would care about until I won my first Olympic gold medal. And I remember I went to my favorite little bakery down the street from my house, Corner Bakery, when I came back from the Olympics. And I was like, oh, great, I'm going to go get myself a breakfast sandwich. And the minute I walked in, everybody just stopped talking. Everything just froze. And everyone turned around and started whispering and staring at me. I was like, oh, my God, okay, I'm not getting my breakfast sandwich today. I'm going to run out and go home and start crying. Like, that was my experience. And after that, I was like, I don't know if I love this right now. Like, it feels a little invasive. Everybody knows me, but I don't know anybody here. So that was rough. But I will say over the years, I've started to love it for many reasons. One, just being able to connect with fans and obviously inspire the next generation of athletes has become really, really important to me because as I think about my past and when I first got my start in snowboarding, there was really nobody that looked like me on the mountains, nobody that really had the same experiences that I did. And I slowly started to realize that I would have to become that person for the next generation. And that's been something I'm really passionate about. So being able to do that through the media and through connecting with my fans has been very important to me.
Absolutely. And I know you let people really have a peek into your routine, as Colleen was talking about. You did a Get Ready With Me. What was that experience like?
I did my first Get Ready With Me. It was so much fun. I was just telling Michelle earlier, I was like, I don't really post on social media because, again, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out my relationship with it, but I thought it would be cool to connect with my fans and tell my story through my lens and through my words and through my experiences as opposed to just it being through the media. And I found it so freeing, and I feel like, all the comments, everyone loved it so much. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to start doing this more. I'm going to start telling my story through my social media and inspiring people in that way. So for me too, I can kind of humanize myself again and become a person and not just this high-level Olympic medal winning athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of Get Ready With Me's, let's talk some beauty. We're going to go down to Michelle because, interests really cross over now Sports lovers are beauty lovers and vice versa. So tell me how companies like Ulta Beauty, because you all have really been excelling at having the synergy between the two, how are you leading the charge on breaking down those boundaries, and how have you really tapped into the new opportunities that sports present?
Love that question, and hello, everyone.
Hey.
Isn't Can amazing? You get to meet people like Chloe Kim, who inspires me every day. So love it, love it. I love the question. There's an intersection now between beauty and sports like we've never seen. And when you work for Ulta Beauty, which you think is like, that's the stomping ground of girls trying makeup for the first time or buying Sol de Janeiro for the first time. So the fact that they can go on a soccer field, or football we call it back home, they go on a football field and they smell good, they feel good, and they perform better. So there is this intersection now where we're linking this playful side of beauty to actually enhancing your performance because you feel good and you feel centered. And this is not a story that is just unique to young girls. Chloe, you even gave an example about it earlier today. So I think there's more to come on this. And I especially am excited seeing how Gen Alpha and Gen Z are thinking about when I get on that soccer field, I'm putting on half magic gems in my face. I'm putting on my war paint because I'm here to win. And winning shows up differently now that beauty got involved.
Yeah. I know that Chloe actually had a moment that was really important to you and seeing that synergy between beauty and sport. Please tell us all about that.
Oh, yeah, right. So it's 2018. It's 2018, right? And it's the whole ad with Chloe and her dad. And my husband looks after my kids, my 10 and 12-year-olds, and they're very good skiers. And my husband has to drive my kids to ski 5 times a week, up a mountain and back down. And he's also a vice president at the time working. And so for any father out there, happy Father's Day, by the way.
Yeah.
Hope you had a great Father's Day. But we know the sacrifices that you make. And for the mothers out there too, we know the sacrifices that you make too. So that sacrifice, that one ad campaign actually inspired my husband to show up differently for my kids. So when I met Chloe today, I gushed all over her because really it made a big difference for us. So thank you, Chloe, and thank you to your dad, and thank you to your mom as well.
Yes, that's amazing. And more on that, there tends to be, as we're seeing, a very deep emphasis on authenticity.
Yes.
Where do you think that is stemming from, Colleen, and will it last?
Yeah, this is like an hour-long topic, so I'm going to put it down into something very precise. But I can tag it back actually to something that you just said, which is everybody knew me and I didn't know anybody. And when you look at what that felt like to you, and you are a performance-driven athlete, you are used to pressure, right? And yet that was almost debilitating. And look at the amazing things you do every day. So when you apply that to someone that doesn't have your training, that isn't that kind of performer, but just a regular person, that is a lot. It is an objectification of the self. And I think that a lot of young people are rejecting that. They want to be able to show up as they are. They want to have a two-way relationship. We like to build a situation where you can show up in a way that people do know you and you know them. And then you know what you're showing up as. What we see over time is there's this thing called a friendship recession that I don't know how many of you have heard about it. But despite the fact that there's unlimited ability for friending right now, people have never felt lonelier and more isolated. Mm-hmm. And it's because they're not showing up as their true selves. So I think that a younger generation is realizing the value, showing up strong, showing up the best that you can be, but showing up as you. And so what they respect, what they admire, what they look up to is people like yourself who say, this is who I am. And this is how I want to be here for you. And what I ask of you is that you respect me as a person and see me as an individual. And I think we're going to continue to see that completely upend the social media model as we know it right now. And I think we're going to continue using technology for social purposes, but we're going to use it to enhance those real relationships with your friends, your family, and the world around you, and the way you show up and how much you can get done that way. And all of the statistics we're seeing is that younger generations are not interested in performative content like posting that exists just so that someone will click or like. What is the value exchange as human beings? And I think that's something we all need to really keep an eye on.
Yeah, and to your point, that getting to know each other element is what multifaceted fandom is.
It sure is.
How can we feel as though we are connecting? So for you, how is connection showing up in the beauty space?
Well, connection and beauty, it's so inherently true to our industry, connection. If you think about it, beauty enthusiasts, we're a community. The first thing we do when we see each other, we go, oh, I love your eyeshadow. I love your lashes, love your hair. And we celebrate each other. Mm-hmm. So now that, at least in Ulta Beauty's terms, we're talking about connection through our Joy Project, where we are really trying to create a pandemic of joy through one person at a time, sharing joy with another person through compliments, help them get through a hard, adverse moment in time. And so beauty isn't just what you put on your skin. It is what you put out in the world. And it really is about teaching young kids and all beauty enthusiasts of all ages that is the true power of beauty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I have to say, yeah, give it up for that. But also, you are an expert. So when you complimented my eyeshadow, Michelle, that meant a lot to me. Absolutely. Chloe, I want to get back to you. You know, we talk a lot about how people are more than just one thing, but really athletes are more than just one thing. As much as people want to say you're just someone that goes out onto the field or the slopes or the court, you are more than one thing. Multi-hyphenated, multi-dimensional. How have you experienced being put in a box, and how do you combat that?
Yeah, there is a lot more to me than just snowboarding. Surprise, surprise. I think it was really rough for me in the beginning, and I think I had many identity crises throughout my lifetime, and I think I still experience them to this day. And I think I just had to realize that I'm going to continue growing. It doesn't matter. I don't recognize myself from 2 years ago. I probably won't recognize myself today in 2 years from now. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about being human. And through snowboarding, I've been able to learn so much about myself, about, things that drive me, about my role in this world and in this space. And every day I just continue to learn more and more about myself, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful to everyone that's helped me throughout this journey, and to also realize that it's okay. It's okay to not know who you are right now. No one really knows who they are right now, and that's all part of this process. And life wouldn't be that fun without it. And so I think just learning how to embrace myself as who I am today in this moment, being present, and continuing to be driven and ambitious and having goals, my goals from in 5 years, what those might look like, and obviously connecting with the right people to help me achieve those goals has been so important to me. So I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm really grateful to be meeting these incredible women, next to me right now.
Well, speaking of achieving great things, your media and commerce company together is amazing. You can learn everything about women's sports. They put out amazing storytelling. You get to know so many of your favorite athletes. And I'm sure in some ways that has also helped you sort of, combat this idea of getting put into a box. She founded it with Simone Manuel, Sue Bird, Alex Morgan. So the world's greatest athletes came together to form Together. And I would like to know, what should brands know about partnering with places that have a focus on women's sports, and why that is so advantageous?
I mean, everyone watches women's sports, right?
Yeah. Get the merch.
Let's go. Where's that merch at? I think, women's sports has been underrepresented in the media for far too long, and we're finally seeing that shift happen, and I'd like to think that Together has had a big role in that, and I'm so proud to be part of this. And also, Alex Morgan texted me and was like, hey, Alex Morgan texted me. let's you heard that, right? Alex Morgan. And she was like, hey, I have this idea, would love for you to be part of it and co-found it with us. And then she was like, we got Sue Bird. Simone Manuel. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. We'd love for you to be part of this. And I was like, oh my gosh, what an honor. And how incredible is it just to have these incredible women supporting other women and us creating this platform to uplift other women in sports. And brands are starting to realize that, you know, the media, the representation, and those opportunities go hand in hand. You can't get one without the other, and I think we're starting to shift that. We're starting to make those changes happen, starting to highlight all these stories and tell these stories and continue to inspire other women all around the world, showing that anything is possible, you know? There's nothing that's stopping us from achieving whatever we may desire, and I'm so proud of what we've built because together truly has done so much.
Yeah.
Done so much good for women in sports, and I'm so honored to be part of it. So, yeah, go get those shirts while you're here.
Definitely. And so for the brands out there listening that really want to dive into the women's sports space, Michelle and Colleen, I would love to hear what the joy that you have found in being in partnership with so many women athletes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, for me, and, you know, I have a history working with sport and women's sport through work with Nike and my old world. And the thing that I noticed over and over and over was that because traditionally women had not been platformed in the same way that men had, there was like every human being in this room, I'm sure, suffers from a complex of fraudulence, right? That's one thing that like everybody thinks is the best kept secret, but it's not. And the platforming that happens in men's sports is what enables those people to up and go, I'm a hero, you know, and then you're standing up going, really, like me? And that is the joy. That is the joy. So when we most recently did something with a FIFA women's team tracker, what was really amazing about that is knowing that these women were running around the field as their incredible stats were speaking for them everywhere that they moved, and that you could see what they were doing. That when we send creators to the Olympics to get close and personal with athletes, to talk about their journey and their story and what they're doing and the reactions, we are platforming these people. And so I don't think it's just for me as a woman, but as a human being, to watch something that gives the joy that sport gives, that gives the coverage for a brand that sport gives, that is, let's be honest, one of the few appointment-driven live events anymore that you can gather a huge audience around, and then to have the extra joy of elevating deserving women into that place with technologies that show the depth of what they bring and who they are, with the ability to surround them and let people know who they are. There is so much room for brands in that space, directly, people like together, through platforms, but get in there, because for every moment and every bit of effort and every cent that you put in, you will get $100 back. It's just a phenomenal feeling. It's massively successful. And the technologies that we're putting together, keep an eye out, because the whole idea is so that you will never have to ask, are you sure? Because we will all be so sure of who you are and what you can bring.
Amazing. Absolutely. And Michelle, I know your experience has been similar. You all pour into women's sports. What has been your strategy around that?
Well, I think really, let me tell you about joy in sports. I was walking down Plaza Las Americas. It's the biggest shopping mall in Puerto Rico where I live. And my daughter's in front of me. And she just finished a soccer match. And she's got her soccer socks up, the tight shorts, her hair's in that big braid. She's sweaty. And she is walking like she owns that mall. And what I realized in that moment is that sports was giving my daughter a confidence that very few things could give her.
That's right.
And I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because she isn't the only girl I'm seeing. So I look around and I see all these other girls doing the same. And it seems to be, it's like a badge of honor. They're walking about in their sports gear, and they like being sweaty because they worked hard and they deserve to do it. So what I love now is the fact that Ulta Beauty, for those who don't know, is the largest beauty specialty retailer in the United States. And we have under 44 million loyalty members. So that means I have millions and millions of young women going through my doors every week. If those girls can have that confidence because a Chloe Kim can show that it's possible, then that is the ultimate sense of joy. I know that's not your answer to the question.
I love that answer.
That is what joy in sport is.
Yes, and you're right. It brings confidence. It helps with self-esteem. It shows you that if you put work into something, you will get something amazing out of it.
Yeah.
And I think as we talk about what multifaceted fandom is, it's also bringing those fans into seeing the process, what it takes for me to go out there and be a champion. Be a gold medalist 7 times, by the way, to go out there and be the best. So that's amazing. Colleen, I want to get a little techie for a minute.
Yeah.
We are seeing a rise in immersive tech like AR and AI. What role do you see this playing in the future of fandom and sports, and how will it impact the fan experience?
Yeah, and I think it hits back on a couple of things I've mentioned along the way. And actually, you know, with Ulta, you're doing amazing things in tech. I mean, you know, and the stuff that you're doing with us is just something we're very proud of. The AR lenses, the ability to let young women transform themselves in a way that's true to who they are. They are the base, but to try on all these different things, I think that's a big deal. I think the ability to overlay a computing layer on the universe and add extra information and fill out data about people that people may not know. I think additional looks into sport. You know, the way that you can bring together so many different people and aggregate that and package it up and send it back out in the world over channels that people are receiving in their pocket, in their phone. When you take a technology and make sure that it doesn't pull you away, oh yeah, let's actually talk about this because I just saw myself up there in a lens.
Oh, look at you. She's got a Snapchat lens on.
So one of the things that we've been playing a lot with, which you may have seen in stadiums, is this idea of the kiss cam. And we're reinventing the kiss cam with AR. And what it does is, you know, like if you're the home team, you know, sometimes we'll put a crying lens on the visiting team who's not doing so well, or you see people able to become and do different things. It just brings so much joy. There you are. Look at you. Look at you. How cute are you there? I mean, you're cute everywhere, but there you go. Let's have something a little crazy. You know, that ability to self-express and see yourself in so many different ways, different possibilities, that is core to the human experience since the beginning of time. I love that. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at you. And I think there is so much joy to be had, and I think you're finding the same with your lenses, which is there is a joy to letting go of the seriousness and just playing around with all the facets of what you can be and do. And we have never seen anywhere in a stadium someone not respond with that same reaction when they see themselves that way. It just transports them and puts them in a moment where they too feel special and part of the occasion. And it's just a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we really all just loved that. Being able to, you know, just imagine and have fun. And like you said, take things less seriously.
Yes.
I love when I'm at sporting events and that's implemented on the Jumbotron. Normally it's the sad face.
Yes.
And I love it. When your team is losing and they put the sad face filter on you, it's one of my favorite
A little
things.
fun. A little fun.
All right, well, my final question for you all is just as we continue to strive to build these real connections, as we've touched on, from your vantage point as executives and your vantage point as a founder and an athlete, what do you want for fandom in the next 3 years?
I want it to be a force for good. You know, I want it to be a force for good for all, not for a select few, and really mobilize missions that are just so critical to society. For me, I think creating the sense of joy and passing it on, especially this year and next couple of years, we will need joy more than we've ever needed it. And so this is the moment that we can use fandom to really drive that movement.
I love that. Fandom for everyone. What about for you, Colleen?
I would really like to see a fandom that kind of collapses the distance, you know, between an athlete and the people that just look up to them. Because you spoke about the pressure the act of being a fan should be to be there to support that person to become and feel safe and held to be everything that they can be, versus to be venerated and put on a mountain with the fear of falling off. And I think that this new environment we're seeing with social technologies, with authenticity, it should be able to collapse the distance between fan and athlete in a way that both brings aspiration to the fan and support and love to the athlete in a way that really helps them get through their day and their job.
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me, just a real authentic connection is so important. I mean, throughout my career, just seeing how many lives I've touched, how many young women I've inspired just from doing my thing has meant so much. So to be able to continue to do that and also continue to inspire these young women, our next generation, I think that authentic connection is going to be so important. And knowing that I'm sitting next to these two incredibly badass women who are also striving for that makes me really, really excited for our future. So thank you guys so much.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So we've got fandom for authentic connection, fandom as support, fandom for good. I hope we continue to progress in all those areas. You all give it up for these ladies. What a crew. Thank you all so much. And thank you all for your insight.